Welcome. I'm Tracy Smith, and this is Here Comes the Sun, a closer look at some of the people, places, and things we bring you every weekend on Sunday morning. Actor Pam Grier is widely known for being the first female action hero ever. Her starring roles in films during the blaxploitation film era of the 1970s inspired A-list director Quentin Tarantino to write a movie for her more than 20 years later.
And I didn't believe it.
You didn't believe it?
No, because he's the #1 premier filmmaker, pop filmmaker in the world. I mean, the world. And he says, no, seriously, I'm going to send it to you.
I was the third brother of 5.
And it was bigger than she ever imagined. Pam Grier was the title character in Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown, opposite Samuel Jackson, Robert De Niro, and Michael Keaton.
What happened to the bag she gave you?
She didn't give me a bag. Melanie was not a part of the plan.
Not surprisingly, the experience turned her into a big Tarantino fan. Later in the show, Pam Grier on her sense of humor. You didn't think you were pretty?
No, I couldn't stroke. I couldn't get on eyelashes, and I still can't. You know, I still have a problem. But I never thought of that because we were told, no, you're not pretty. If your eyes and your nose and your mouth works, that's your beauty, in the simplicity of my family. And the pretty people, really naturally pretty, are when you have like Angela Bassett and you have Tina Turner, you know, they can get out of bed and they don't put on anything and they look outstanding. Me, it's like, who is that, Mom? Is that Pam? But I have a humor.
Then Lee Cowan takes a trip to the Lone Star State to meet a few pit masters putting a foreign twist on traditional Texas barbecue.
10 years after his very first taste of Texas barbecue, Kareem opened his own food truck. And within months, his Egyptian-style barbecue had earned a nomination for a prestigious James Beard Award.
Don't ask me how.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's like a work of art. I can't wait to eat this.
I really think a lot of the immigrants who are coming to Texas specifically see barbecue as a way, like a palette, to bring the flavors of their culture to the forefront.
That's all coming up right here on Here Comes the Sun. Pam Grier rose to fame in films such as Coffee and Foxy Brown. But she hit a bump in the road in 1988 when she was diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer and given only 18 months to live. I sat down with her to discuss how she recovered and how her diagnosis didn't slow down her career.
Have no fear, Pam Grier is here.
To the movie-going public, Pam Grier really was a one-woman hit squad. She was a gun-toting goddess who made her name in films like Coffee and the immortal Foxy Brown, where she fought against low-life drug dealers and the idea that a woman couldn't outfight a man.
I swear, baby, I don't know what you're talking about.
So you didn't realize at the time you were the first female action hero?
Yeah, I was too tall and feet too big. What can I tell you? I didn't fit the plan or anything, but...
So you changed the plan?
I changed it, but it was welcomed.
It was welcomed, all right. In the 1970s, the height of the blaxploitation film era, Pam Grier was the undisputed queen of the genre and one of the few female lead action stars ever.
What are you doing here?
I'm delivering the milk.
And not a lot of other women saw it to emulate me because it's hard. Firing a gun, arms frighten people. Standing up to authority, standing up to injustice is daunting. And I didn't know any better, I guess.
Pam, in front of you! This way, please, up top!
But she always seemed to win. And, in a long career, graduated to roles that didn't involve breaking heads.
You're a great teacher.
Like this one, opposite Julia Roberts and Tom Hanks.
I got a whiff of the chef. He smells like grilled onions. What's going on with you? Why do you have these?
And now she's the mother of an LA homicide cop in the second season of the hit horror series Them, now streaming on Amazon Prime.
You're lying.
Grandma? Grandma, you okay?
You must get offered a lot of projects. What made you decide to say yes to this one, to Them the Scare?
Insanity. Because I'm not good with bumping the night. You know, I'm not good. I lock the doors, turn on the lights. Don't sneak up behind me.
You don't like to be scared?
No.
But there have been times when her real life was scarier than anything in a movie house. Pamela Suzette Grier was born 75 years ago, an Air Force brat who was raised near bases from North Carolina to the UK. Her family eventually settled in Colorado, where young Pam learned some of the things that would help her later on.
I had this rawness, you know, from the hood, that I didn't have to learn how to ride a horse. I didn't have to learn how to spank a behind. I didn't have to learn how to throw a skillet. You know, these things came with my craft.
No one escapes from my prison. No one!
And to perfect that craft, she went to LA in the 60s, where she was discovered and subsequently cast in a series of tough prison girl movies like Women in Cages and The Big Bird Cage. As her fame grew, her love life got attention too. She never married, but Grier was romantically linked to a number of high-profile men, among them comic legend Richard Pryor. Do you think you could have married Richard Pryor?
For a day. I've left relationships not falling out of love, but not being loved. And there's a difference. Maybe my husband, partner, mate, was filmmaking.
By the mid-'80s, she was a fixture in Hollywood, on screens big and small. And then her life hit a pretty big bump. So you're having this great career ride, and suddenly in, 1988, you go to the doctor and they give you this cancer diagnosis, and they told you had 18 months to live?
Mm-hmm. Yes, my world literally came to a screeching halt that day in the office. It's very serious because it's a stage 4, and we found it in wider areas in your body. And that's how we evolved. They couldn't say cancer, they said the C word.
The C word, they didn't
Remember
even say
the C
cancer.
word? And I was like, you can say cancer, and I'm gonna give it my all.
Excuse me, folks, but we gotta make an unscheduled stop!
And her all was enough. She recovered and started to put her career back on track. Turns out Pam Grier had fans in high places, something she found out by accident while watching a Quentin Tarantino film. In the 1990s, you go to the theater with your friends to see this little movie, Reservoir Dogs.
Yes.
And you got quite a shock.
Yes, I did. In the car, they bring up this woman who is this crime fighter named Foxy Brown.
Pam Grier did the film. Christy Love was like a Pam Grier TV show without Pam Grier.
And I'm sitting there and everyone goes, and they turn around and point to me.
Not long after that, she met Tarantino in person, who told her he was writing a screenplay with her in mind.
And I didn't believe it.
You didn't believe it?
No, because he's the #1 premier filmmaker, pop filmmaker in the world. I mean, the world. And he said, no, seriously, I'm going to send it to you.
I was the third brother of 5.
And it was bigger than she ever imagined. Pam Grier was the title character in Quentin Tarantino's Jackie Brown, opposite Samuel Jackson, Robert De Niro, and Michael Keaton.
What in the bag she gave you?
She didn't give me a bag. Melanie was not a part of the plan.
Not surprisingly, the experience turned her into a big Tarantino fan.
Man, I hope he doesn't retire. I don't know what to. I'll babysit his children so he can go to work. I don't want him to retire. There's so much more to him. And he may not want to give it, but I've been just fortunate to experience his lessons, his joy he's shared with me. Look at that. Oh my God.
And it seems the joy continues. In a storefront attached to his Vista Theater in Los Angeles, Quentin Tarantino built a coffee shop.
This is the end of your rotten life, you dope pusher!
Named for one of Pam Grier's most famous characters.
So have you seen this before?
No, I wanted to save it for you.
Inside, the place is basically a shrine, with her face on everything from posters to coffee cups. Is it a little overwhelming?
Yes, a lot overwhelming.
Pam Grier seems comfortable with being an icon, as long as it means she can keep doing what she loves. How long do you think you're going to keep filmmaking?
Till I'm about 100. You take small steps, you still move forward. And my steps might get really small when I get older. I don't know. But I never want to lose my curiosity and respect for what we have.
Up next, an exclusive excerpt from my chat with Pam Grier, something you can only see right here on Here Comes the Sun. Stay with us.
My Oscar is just being alive and being asked to work.
As promised, here's more from my interview with Pam Grier. How did you learn how to act?
Watching other actors. Sid Haig was one of my first teachers, who was in the Roger Corman films, a wonderful actor, and I would sing gospel just to calm my nerves because I'm from the church, and he would say, "Hey, that's fantastic, what a vocalization." What? So, yeah, well, you're warming up your voice, your tool.
So you're learning these terms as you're going.
With him and the other actors that were with us on the set.
What was the best part for you about Coffee?
Coffee was my mom, a nurse. In the community, many communities all across the country went beyond what the hospitals, we didn't have ER rooms, but what the hospitals and people, farmers, or were you military, urban or rural, you couldn't go to a doctor. You couldn't have your arms set. You didn't have that medical care. Many nurses came home, and in the middle of the night, someone would knock on the door needing emergency care, and my mom did that. She's, "Pammy, get up, we gotta boil some water, we gotta cut some air, we gotta do this, and someone's here needs help." And she did that often and stood up to a lot of the bad guys. You know, there's always the guys doing it, you know, bad boys, you know, doing stuff. And that was her. And the film, I think originally Jack Hill wanted a Caucasian actress to play it. And I don't know why he couldn't find one. You know, it's the gun, stay at home. Your husband does that, you don't do anything like that. You know, that kind of thing. I heard from a lot of actresses who would have loved to have played Coffee after I'd done it.
After you
However,
after
I didn't have a stunt person to do the work.
No stunt person.
No stunt double.
There were
no stunt women at the time. There were the upper family that taught me in Coffee the tricks of the trade.
So
you
learned to do your own stunts?
After I broke my ankle, leg, hurt, rotor cuff tear, a couple of bumps. But I wanted to walk away looking confident, like I could handle it. But she was grassroots. She didn't have no martial arts. She could maybe just fire a gun out of emotion, you know, would build her strength up. But that was my mom.
You didn't think you were pretty?
No, I couldn't stroke. I couldn't get eyelashes, and I still can't. You know, I still have a problem. But I never thought of that because we were told, no, you're not pretty if your eyes and your nose and your mouth works. That's your beauty, in the simplicity of my family. And the pretty people, really naturally pretty, are when you have like Angela Bass and you have Tina Turner. You know, they can get out of bed and they don't put on anything and they look outstanding. Me, it's like, who is that, Mom? Is that Pam? But I have a humor.
You brought up Oscars. You were nominated for just about every award there is, except for the Oscar. And people were outraged. Were you?
No, not at all.
No?
No. I know it is an ideal symbol of achievement, but it's subjective in many ways because some people, they have ad campaigns subliminally. It's like, I liked her because she represents what I had on that day or how I felt with that divorce or whatever, so I'm voting for her. And I hear and see that, and so I don't feel that I can, because I feel that all the ads that I see are affecting me. And I don't want to misjudge someone because of ads and all of that promotion. I want to be able to see the film, see the work. And if I was asked to be a judge at a film festival, what a daunting position. Oh my God, to see 2 films a day, a documentary, and you have to write an essay on these films that you see. To reach that is an honor, but to know that I have to be not subjective. I have to look at what they're asking for that makes it exemplary. Where you have a movie that's made for $5 or a movie that's made for $5 million, and it's in the Himalayas and it's somewhere in the rice paddies, and what did it take to achieve this, something that grabs you in so many areas? And I didn't think I can do that. Now I know that I can from being a judge. And I said, you know what? My Oscar is just being alive and being asked to work and share the narratives of so many Pams and other women that I'd like to be.
Up next, Texas barbecue with a twist. Welcome back. Some Texas chefs are putting a twist on traditional barbecue, preparing classics like brisket and ribs with spices and flavors from their far-flung roots, including Egypt and Japan. Lee Cowan got a taste.
She is perhaps one of the lesser-known ancient Egyptian goddesses. Her name is Hassat. Depicted as a cow, she was worshipped as the goddess of nourishment. So perhaps it's not that much of a surprise that a cow goddess and barbecue would eventually meet.
Oh man.
This is KG Barbecue in Austin, Texas,
The rice bowl is a great introduction.
where pitmaster Kareem El Gaesh has blended the flavors of ancient Egypt with an age-old cowboy tradition.
It's a combo I've never heard of before.
Yeah. Yeah, I've never seen pomegranate seeds on barbecue.
His presentation is as unique as the taste. Each dish looks like a landscape, painted with the vibrant colors of the Middle East. Meats of all sorts, including lamb and kofta sausages, are seasoned with cumin, coriander, and turmeric.
My goal was to present something that looks familiar, but then you go and try it, and it's an explosion of flavors.
Kareem first came to Texas from Cairo on a whim.
I mean, I know Western movies, I know cowboys, I know country music.
He never tasted Texas barbecue, but when he did, recreating it for himself became his life's work.
Sounds like you became a little obsessed with figuring out how to do
Just
it.
a little bit, yeah.
Just a little bit.
He was a finance executive back in Cairo, where in his spare time he would go searching for a cut of brisket to try his hand at his newfound love.
I would go with the cow chart, on my phone. This is where the brisket is. Like, can you cut it?
10 years after his very first taste of Texas barbecue, Kareem opened his own food truck, and within months, his Egyptian-style barbecue had earned a nomination for a prestigious James Beard Award.
Don't ask me how.
I think it's beautiful. I think it's like a work of art. I can't wait to eat this.
I really think a lot of the immigrants who are coming to Texas specifically see barbecue as a way, like a palette, to bring the flavors of their culture to the forefront.
That's Daniel Vaughn, the highly influential barbecue editor for Texas Monthly.
We got crispy pig skin right here.
We found him at the magazine's annual Barbecue Fest in Lockhart.
Oh, that's the good sound right there.
Hovering around a whole pig being prepared by Don Nguyen, who along with his brother Theo, started a Vietnamese-style pop-up in Houston called Koi Barbecue.
And what I'm kind of doing on top is just a little fried onion oil.
This dish, for example, offers pork shoulder on a bed of vermicelli noodles, then flavored with a Vietnamese fish sauce.
This is spot on right here.
You ever tasted anything like this?
No, that's unique.
I see people who sort of rail against the idea of all these changes in Texas barbecue, but when you sit them down with that plate in front of them, they're rarely arguing about whether it's good or not, right?
They're certainly lining up at this Asian-style Texas smokehouse called Kamuri Tatsuya, also in Austin.
Probably the best one.
Chef Tatsu Aikawa is Tokyo-born, but he's Texas-raised, so he doesn't see his barbecue as some kind of trendy fusion. To him, it's just as natural as pairing salt and pepper.
What I make it just comes through me, as an experience. That's why I don't like to use the word fusion, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think to me, it's deeper than that.
He too has been racking up awards for items like his barbecue bento box, where diners can take brisket, put it on a bed of rice and garlic, wrap it in nori, and then just eat it like a hand roll.
Good.
Then there's this hugely popular ramen dish, where barbecue brisket is served atop thick, slurp-worthy noodles, accompanied with a pork bone broth for dipping.
It kind of creates this thickness where it kind of coats the whole noodle Texas barbecue is almost perfect, you know, to its form, and I respect it. So to me, I'm just creating vehicle to showcase and highlight. I'm not trying to alter what it is.
These are about maybe 6-7 hours in.
Neither is Kareem El-Gayash.
I'm just someone that followed my brain. You know, I'm like, this is what I want to do, so I'm just gonna do it.
Follow your heart, I guess.
Yeah, follow my heart too. Exactly, followed my heart.
He just got his U.S. citizenship, and he now proudly wears an American flag on his barbecue apron, right next to his Egyptian pendant. A Texan by way of Cairo, who just put a few more notches in the nation's barbecue belt.
I love introducing people to Egypt and its food and its culture, and it's a great way to do it through Texas barbecue.
I'm Tracy Smith. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you here next time on Here Comes the Sun.